All right, folks, if we can work our way to our seats, please. We're going to start in just 1 minute. All right, if we can find our way to our seats, we're going to start in just 1 minute here. All right, thank you. I wanted to go ahead and get started here with our council meeting and welcome you. First of all, today is Wednesday, July 19th, and it is 2023. I wanted to say we have a full agenda because we were dark on our first week in July, so we've transferred quite a few of those things over. So we're going to jump right into it. I also want to announce that we did not have a closed session prior to our council meeting, so I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:01. And Madam Clerk, have you received any correspondence on tonight's agenda?
Not this evening.
All right, thank you. If you don't mind, would you please call roll?
Councilmember Dinas?
Here.
Councilmember Estrada?
Here.
Councilmember Sobek?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Carwin?
Here.
And Mayor Zimmerman.
And I'm here. Thank you. And I know we have our pastor from Crossway Menifee, Pastor Bob Warning here. Welcome, Pastor. We appreciate you coming and sharing a few words of inspiration to help us get started.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. So privileged to be here. Just love the buzz that happens before these meetings, and it's such a blessing to call Menifee home. I've been a resident for 45 years and watched this place grow into a pretty awesome community. So I just would like to pray for the meeting tonight and ask for God's wisdom. So, Father in heaven, we thank you so much and know that every good gift comes from you. And so tonight we're asking for your guidance, your wisdom, and your support as we begin this meeting. And I ask that you would help these men and women to engage in meaningful discussion as they make decisions that affect our community. I ask that you would bless them abundantly as they seek your wisdom and guidance, courage, and strength. Be with them in their deliberations. Help them to make wise decisions that they make for the good of all of us who call Menifee home. And may the consensus they reach would just bring you glory. And we're just so grateful for this time together. Amen. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. All right. We are now on item 4. This is the Pledge of Allegiance, and some of you may know, but not all of you, that the Rotary Club has a brand new president at the helm, and it's Christina Mills. And so, Christina, if you don't mind leading us in our flag salute tonight. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you so much, Christina. We are going to come up to the front now, council members, because we have a few presentations to do. And our first one is the Citizen of the Month. So let's all go up to the front and get started with that. How about that? Is that better? Can you hear me? All right. So our first presentation, as a lot of you know, each month the City Council here in Menifee selects a Citizen of the Month, and it's usually somebody who works behind the scenes and doesn't like a whole lot of attention, and so we give him a bunch of attention here. But this month we rotate, and this month was my month to choose somebody, and I nominated Stacy Hartfield. So Stacy, if you'd come on up to the front. So Stacy is one of those people that I was just talking about, always working behind the scenes and doing a lot of things for our community. Menifee is a much better place because of Stacy and all the good things that she does. So I'm going to try to go off memory here, but she is a Rotarian, and at our Rotary Club meetings, I've been there and witnessed this, where they say, can someone volunteer to go to the schools and honor the kids? And Stacy's hand goes up and says, assign me a couple of schools, right? She's also a member of our Chamber of Commerce here in Menifee, and she is the director of the Ambassador Program as well. And so, as you know, the ambassadors are the ones that greet people at the mixers and welcome brand new chamber members, and Stacy oversees all that, makes sure that we have that. She's also a member of our Lake Menifee Women's Club, and she is a volunteer for a lot of the things like the parade that we just got through having for Independence Day, as well as the purse auction and some of the other things that we do. We're honoring kids and helping our young people. So I know I'm missing some things, but her career was involved with helping college students understand the process of applying for FAFSA funding and also attaining their career goals and choosing a career path and all those things. And so, as you can see, it's all about others, and that's one thing Linda Denver always taught us, others. It's not about ourselves, and Stacy exemplifies that. And so that's why she has been chosen for our Citizen of the Month. And how many of you agree that she deserves some recognition? All right, Stacy, this is for you, and it says, in recognition, appreciation of your commitment to the Menifee community, your efforts make Menifee a premier place to be through volunteering with the Menifee Chamber, the Lake Menifee Women's Club, the Rotary Club, the Economic Development Coalition. All of those things have been admirable. The city of Menifee commends your selfless dedication, and so this is for you to put in your office. And Scott is her husband over here, so he gets to see it all the time and give her high fives for us. So I'm going to allow you to say a few words if you like.
I don't want to do this. So thank you all. I'm honestly just trying to live up to all the people I see volunteering at all the different places in this wonderful community, because I can't keep up. I mean, Linda's everywhere. Christina and George are doing everything. Michael back there, he's everywhere. We see each other everywhere. So Chris and Mary and everyone, I'm just trying to keep up with you all, and I don't think I've done half of it yet, so I'll keep trying. That's all I can say. But I would like to thank my husband, our sons back here, and our adopted daughter too there, and just everyone who shows support and helps me out with all the crazy things I keep trying to add to our to-do list. So thank you very much.
All right, well done. All right, so tighten up. Okay, and I just want to get a show of hands. How many of you came tonight because Stacy was going to be honored? Look at that. That is awesome. Thank you guys for being here and showing all of your appreciation to her. It's well deserved. So thank you so much. Yeah, and so let's have her family come on up. We'll do a photo with all of you as well. I even see some flowers coming. Very thoughtful. Okay, next up, we would like to welcome Kahlil Pilacin to come join us here up at the front. Stand right here. don't know. Maybe not. All right, so I got a little cheat sheet here just because I know I'm going to mess it all up. But Kahlil is, you're going to be a senior, right? Oh my gosh. Look how big he is. So he was just a freshman at Liberty High School, and he was on the wrestling team there, and now he's going to be transferring to Paloma Valley High School and be a Wildcat and wrestle under Coach Luis Robles, who I just know you're going to excel. But the reason why we are honoring Kahlil tonight is because he recently won first place at the U.S. National Youth, help me say it right, Pancration Championship, which is... So it's youth mixed martial arts. And that was in Ontario. Thank you for the help. I need it. That was in Ontario, and that was in May, which qualified Kahlil to be able to represent the United States in the World Championships. That's going to be next week, first week in August, in Abu Dhabi, which is in the United Arab Emirates, right? So you're going to be traveling and representing the United States, and we're just super proud of you because he's right here from Menifee. He's one of ours. Yeah. Bob, I'm going to have you read that.
Well, Kahlil, we got a certificate for you here so you can always remember this night and the support that the city of Menifee is giving you and how far behind we are. It says, this certificate is presented by the city of Menifee in recognition for your academic accomplishments, achievement of your first national MMA title, and the opportunity to represent Team USA at the 2023 Youth MMA World Championship. We commend you on your accomplishments. That's for you. City of Menifee loves you and is rooting for you. I'm going to pass the mic down to some of our other council members have some comments for you.
Yes, thank you. Kahlil held a lemonade sale to try to raise money so he can travel and be on this team and get to where he needs to go. He still's a little short on his GoFundMe page, so I want to share that with you. If each of you can maybe a little bit tonight, $5 to $20. Just think how much we could help him get on his way. And so I just want to say congratulations. And if you win, you're coming back to the city council meeting to let us know, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I just want to thank your mother and your father for all the support that they have given to you. If you haven't read his bio on his GoFundMe page, just go on there and read his bio. What an exceptional young man that we have in the city of Menifee. So congratulations.
Thank you.
It takes a lot of dedication and hard work to get where you are, but I think that shows what kind of person you are, and I can't wait to see you when you get through high school and to college and what you're going to do for our community or whatever community you go to. So congratulations and best of luck in Dubai.
Kahlil, good luck, young man. You are the role model for many young high school students. They're going to all be looking at you, wishing they were in your position. Don't take it for granted. Menifee is rooting for you. Your country is rooting for you. And when you're done, I might need a bodyguard, okay? All right, good luck.
I just wanted to say thank you to my mom who, kind of set it all up and made it all happen. She supported me all throughout my 15 years of, being here on Earth. And I want to I want to say thank you to the community of Menifee for coming together and pulling together to help me raise $1,005 at my lemonade stand. It was a huge contribution to my goals to be able to travel to represent the U.S. I just hope I can make not only the city of Menifee proud and my family proud, but also my country proud and represent, the U.S. good.
All right, that was well said. Congratulations. We're going to take a picture, and if you like, we can have your family come up too. Do you guys want to take a photo with you? All right. So let's do one with just Kahlil first. We'll tighten up. All right, and then we'll have the family come on up, and we'll make a little room for them in the middle. Come on up. brothers and sisters. All right. Oh, one more. So we wish you the best, and we hope that you're successful and that you get the win and bring home some awards to us. So congratulations and best of luck to you. Yeah, thank you. Look forward to seeing you next year. We're happy to do this. Okay, next up, I'd like to ask Gina Gonzalez to come up. Gina is our Economic Development Director, and each month or every other month we do a business spotlight, right? Every month. And so she's going to tell us about who is being spotlighted this month.
Good evening. Again, Gina Gonzalez, Economic Development Director for our big, beautiful city. Love it here. How many of you guys are familiar with our Business Spotlight program? This is awesome. We're getting better and better. For those of you that are unaware of our program, it's our free business recognition program to say thank you to those businesses in Menifee that go above and beyond the call of business each and every single day. So today we're here to say thank you and recognize Melody Thai Cuisine. A little bit about Melody Thai Cuisine. It's family owned and operated, and it has a modern interpretation of classic Thai dishes. Owners Meow and Derek Voex, I can never say that right, is that right? Vokes. Started its flagship location in Bellflower, California, called Jazz Melody Thai Barbecue. In 2022, they opened Melody Thai Cuisine here in Menifee. Meow wanted to bring her flavor and love for Thai cuisine to her hometown of Menifee. Melody Thai offers classic Thai dishes from cow soy. How many of you are familiar with cow soy? She knows. She knows. This is my favorite dish there. If you haven't, it's amazing. And if you don't know and you go, what did Gina say? It's on the wall. It's the only picture of the dish on the wall. That's the one you need to try, okay? Pineapple fried rice, drunken noodle, fresh spring rolls, and pad ki mao, to name a few. Meow is very active in the community and takes in her employees and patrons as family, and I've witnessed it. Even though most of the time you'll find Meow in the kitchen making tasty dishes, she still finds time to come out of the kitchen in her restaurant and visit all of her guests tableside just to say hello. With her regulars, she knows what it takes to have a special touch and knows what dishes they will order when they come in, creating dishes based on their dietary needs. She has even found a way to make curry without curry to accommodate one of her guests' dietary restrictions so they can still experience the flavor of Thai cuisine. To most, that would be an almost impossible feat, but she's made the impossible possible. Melody Thai is actively involved in contributing to multiple clubs, including Paloma Valley High School, Arts Council of Menifee, as well as catering for Menifee's senior programs and clubs. In addition, she donates to our local Cherry Hills Golf Club and Menifee Women's Club. She has a special place in her heart for military Menifee community, as her husband Derek has served as well. Thank you for serving, Derek. She has hosted and catered events honoring our local military customers and families. So as part of the recognition program, not only do we say thank you, you're in our Menifee Matters, we do press, but it's also, we put a video together with the help of each business. And so with that, we'll roll it, and then I'll pass it over.
Sawadika, I'm Chef Meow from Melody Thai Cuisine in Menifee. I want to share my traditional Thai dish with you. Everything made with fresh ingredients and love. From the curry to pad thai. Every bite will bring you to the street of Bangkok. Relax with the cold beer with a glass of wine that goes perfectly with the Thai cuisine. Take a Thailand adventure with us in Melody Thai Cuisine.
So this is Meow and her husband Derek, and she is the owner. And we just wanted to say thank you for choosing Menifee for your business and bringing all of your expertise and great cuisine skills to our Sun City community. And I know that they welcome you with open arms. I always hear so much you to put on your wall. And we hope that you'll use the video that was produced by our team. Oh, thank you. We hope you'll use the video that was produced by our team on social media and help generate some more business. And all of us, hopefully we're all hungry for some Thai food, and that we'll go and visit Meow at her restaurant. So with that, I'm going to just pass it to the council members. You guys have anything you want to share? Nothing more? Did you want to say anything? Or Derek, did you want to share anything?
You want to say first? Go ahead. Oh, my heart popped. It's the first time for me to talk, but I don't know what to say. Okay. How exciting. First of all, I have to say, where she at? Gina. So many thanks for Gina. Melody Thai cuisine never happened if she not helping me. She helping a lot. Tony, is the one tell me the space opens, that I'm here to have Melody. Then I promise everyone, I will make good food, make you happy and laughing, and happy tummy. And thank you for City of Menifee to have give me this today. I don't know what to say. I'm just so exciting. Thank you.
Well, you are part of our family, and we are going to support you. And so thank you and congratulations. We're going to take a photo together here, so let's get tight so we can get everybody in. Thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. Okay, our next items are sort of related. This is items 5, 4, and this is our community services update. So I see Mariana Mitchell's here, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you, and then we'll just kind of work our way through some of the items.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Mariana Mitchell, Community Services Manager. And for this month's Community Services Update, we'd like to take the opportunity to celebrate July being Parks Make Life Better Month. And so in doing so, we'd like to start with some recognitions. The first one, want to give some background. The California Park and Recreation Society, also known as CPRS, is a professional organization dedicated to the advancement of the park and recreation profession through education, networking, resources, and advocacy. With over 500 members member agencies ranging from cities to counties to park districts and higher education institutions, the annual CPRS Award of Excellence program is highly competitive, and only the most innovative projects, people, and programs are selected. So with this in mind, it should come as no surprise that the City of Menifee was one of 4 agencies selected for the Award of Excellence in Park Planning for the design of the Gail Webb Kids Are #1 Action Sports Park. So, right. Yes. The design of this park has created and elevated a standard for all future park developments, and it has played an integral role of bringing the value of parks and open spaces to the forefront as we continue to build our social infrastructure. With attention given to the balancing of rural, past, and natural park spaces, the future development of unique and progressive parks and programs, Menifee parks like the Gail Webb Kids Are #1 Action Sports Park will continue paving the way to new, better, best. So at this time, on behalf of CPRS, we'd like to present the City of Menifee with the Award of Excellence.
So this is it, and it is for the park design, but the person who I believe, and maybe the council agrees with me, gets the credit is Bryce Howell, who's standing there with Mariana. Come on up. Bryce oversees all of our parks, the maintenance, all the teams that are doing all of the design and landscaping and taking care of all that. He also oversees the contractors that are doing our maintenance of our parks as well. So, but Bryce, I know you were instrumental in bringing this great idea of a pump track, and ultimately we named it after Gail Webb, which is very appropriate. But I'm going to hand the mic to you. You can share a little bit about what your thoughts are about this award.
Okay. Thank you. Threw me off there. All right. Pump track, obviously, the biggest one here in Southern California, one of the biggest in California. I mean, that itself is pretty intense. I've been to a few through in other states. I know that council had even brought it up. Everybody kind of wanted a pump track, and when we came forward with this design, we definitely did not think, I didn't think council would say go ahead with it, and they sure did. So yeah, it's a go check it out. It's definitely worth riding. I ride there. It's fun. So family, all age groups. It's an amazing park. So
What's next at the park?
next at the park is the restrooms coming in. So this year we're working on that. So we won't have the portable restrooms there. We'll have some permanent restroom fixtures there.
Well done. Congratulations on that. We're going to take a photo here. All right, well done, team, and congratulations to Menifee. All right, Mariana, you want to take it from there? And
Actually, I'm going to hand it over to Bryce,
All
who's
right.
going to do our second recognition.
excellent. And I think we're going to have Gail join us, right? So, Gail,
Yes.
if you don't mind coming up to the front with us. Those of you who don't know, this is Gail Webb.
This one I was prepared for. We have a little bit to hear talk about Gale. So what made the development and the construction of the Gale Webb Kids Are #1 Action Sports Park exceptional was the community involvement. Once the support poured in, once the park was officially named and honored after Gale. So once we got that name going, everybody really wanted to chip in, volunteer, help out, and come to that. Gail has been champion for youth just here in Menifee for over 40 years. Not just Menifee, but definitely here. We want to say Menifee, even though it was all over. And because of that, the CPRS also selected Gail Webb as champion of the community. And I'll give a little background of Gail, as she's widely known as the skateboarding mom. Her accomplishments extend way beyond skateboarding itself. The stunt show she created years ago, Gail's Extreme Sports Show, was put on at schools, fairs. I got to see it as a kid. People I work with got to see it here locally. So it's a personally I get love doing this, to be able to give you this honor. She put this on, reaching out to hundreds of thousands of kids throughout the country, giving her messages: never give up, get high on life, say no to drugs and alcohol. She really pushed that and really achieved giving that word to children. She is accomplished motocross racer with two over 30 women's championships, was inducted into the Skateboard Hall of Fame, won Champ Woodward Lifetime Achievement Award, was most recently inducted into the Legend and Heroes Tour Hall of Fame, and has the largest action sports park here in Southern California, named after her. Yes.
She also just got inducted into the DMX Hall of Fame.
There we go. Gail has inspired so many with her positive messages, continuing to ring today. If you see her at the park, say hi. She's still giving out stickers, cheering on the kids that are there at the park. For more than 40 years, Gail's Extreme Sports Shows have continued to make a positive impact on today's youth. So thank you, Gail. On behalf of CPRS, we would like to present you with the Champion of the Community Award.
I can't believe I'm shaking. I never do. I could stand up here for hours and thank so many people because I didn't do everything by myself. It was the city of Menifee. It was Mr. Bill Zimmerman and all the colleagues here that all believed in what we're doing for kids. There's nothing better in this whole world than kids. Kids are #1. always will be. And they just need a little push here and there once in a while. But I want to thank my husband, who's not here anymore. But if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be standing here. It was a good, we did everything we could for kids. We made them believe that anything is possible, to never give up, ever. And it doesn't mean just for kids. It means kids of all ages. You can be 101, I don't care. Everything is possible. But the time you want to give up is when you lose it all. So never, ever give up. And this is what we tell them at the pump track. We have Eddie Fiola there. He's like a teacher there, jumping these jumps that you can't believe. And he doesn't just talk to them. He goes out right on the track to make sure they're okay. And these are kids that they go in and they think they can do it, but then all of a sudden they start accomplishing what they want to do in life, whether it's bicycles or arithmetic or school. Or when these kids get that glow on their face, we all know what that looks like. We all know we did a good job. So we have to keep that up. And with your help in this park that you bestowed in my name, thank you so much, because I love all of you and what you've done for kids. I love kids. Kids are number one. Don't cry. I do want to thank, we have Mike Lewis of here, Janice Jordan of Minx, and so many people, Mindy Fiola. There's so many people that couldn't make it tonight. They're still on the freeway, I think, too. But it doesn't make any difference. We're going to keep going. In this park, I can't believe the thousands of people that are visiting it. It means more people at the restaurants and everywhere in the industry, everywhere in Menifee. We have a good name here in Menifee, and you guys did it. Believe in kids always. Kids are number one. Can I get this audience to say something all together? On the count of three, will everybody say really loud, kids are number one. 1, 2, 3. Kids are number one. Oh, I love you.
Stay here.
I'm sorry I talked so long.
Stay here, stay here. Oh, we're going to take a photo. Oh. Now, we're not done yet with Gail. She thinks she's done, but she's not. Yeah, so I'm going to take this from you because there's a much bigger one coming. We have in the audience someone who's very special. He is newly elected to the State Assembly, and that's Bill Asaley. So, Assemblyman Asaley, would you come and join us, please? Thank you for being here.
Nice to meet you. Good.
Every year, Assemblyman Asaley chooses someone very special as his Woman of the Year award. And I'm going to let him share a little bit more about it, but he chose Gail Webb, and I think it was a very good choice.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you for having me here. We wanted to do this in Sacramento, but we're going to do it somewhere better in Menifee. Okay. So every year in the state legislature, every district gets to select their Woman of the Year, someone who's given back to their community and really embodies what this community is about. So I had a lot of options this year from different communities, but when I read Gail's profile, your bio, I was truly inspired because you've not only lived a life, but you've also given back. And you are a true testament to not only the American spirit, but to great potential, because you suffered a tragedy in your life in a parachute accident. You like adrenaline, don't you? Adrenaline junkie. She was in a parachute accident. They told her she would never walk again. And so, and she did not take that. She said, that's not true. I'm not gonna be resigned to that. And she overcame that. Look at her. She's fully mobile. And then she gave back, and she became a source of inspiration to kids and youth. And I think that's so important today, because in a world where we're told we're victims and you don't have the power to succeed and everything's working against you, it's the wrong message. That's not what America's about. America's that we all have untapped potential, and it all takes a little inspiration and a little guidance and to realize that. And you do that so well, and I am honored to have you as my Woman of the Year. Thank you. I just want to say thank you. And I want to say one thing. Is this on? Mr. Kahlil? Not if you win, when you win. We will bring you up to the state capitol and recognize you there. So my staff, I'm confident you're going to win. So my staff will get your info and we'll get you recognized at the Capitol. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's what I do. I know I thank a lot of people and I go on and on sometimes. It's because I have so much in my heart to be thankful for. It's all of you sitting there. I don't know your names, but you're so into what we're all about and all the people that have been here tonight before me. And that's what we all need to do, is support one another. When Eddie and I and Mike and all the kids are out there, they're turning around helping the other little kids. I call them pamper kids because they're out there in little pampers riding these little bikes. And Bryce, unbelievable job, you and all your people. I've been around a long time, as you can tell, and you know the people that really care, and all of you care so much. That's why Menifee works, and that's why Menifee is so different. You guys rock. I mean, really you do. Woo! I'm shaking. I'm sorry.
Use 2 hands on that. It's heavy. Oh, yeah. That's from the state. So.
So all the supporters of Gail who came tonight, we want to have you join us and be in this photo. Come on up, everybody who's here.
Just the ones pre-designated by Gail.
Okay, we have one more similarly related item here, and I'm going to pass it over to Mariana because she's going to share a little bit about Parks Make Life Better. Some of you may know that July happens to be the nation's Park and Rec month, but it's also the state's Parks Make Life Better month as well. So Mariana, maybe you can share a little bit about that. And I think our Parks, Rec, and Trails commissioners who are here, if you guys don't mind working your way up, I see the chairman, Bill Ackerman, and Laz is here, Dave Faust. Any others? All right, so thank you guys for being here. Mariana, it's all yours.
Okay, so the month of July, as you know, is Parks Make Life Better Month through the state of California, CPRS, National Park and Recreation Month for NRPA. July just tends to be the month that most of our community events and programs are in full swing. We've got our Park After Dark series. We're tying in Menifee 15. We've got our summer camps, our programs. Just it's nonstop for us in the month of July. So what better month to recognize both the hard work of all of our staff, some of which are here today, and our supporters, which are our commissioners and city council and our residents. So we're very thankful for the opportunity to be able to provide these programs to the community, and because of that, we're happy to proclaim July as Parks Make Life Better Month. So I think the proclamation, if we can get hand that over to our commissioners to accept, and then we'll go ahead and take some pictures. All right. Yes.
There's all of our park team.
Okay, so I think that's it for presentations. So if you guys want to go ahead and take a seat. And I have one last item to conclude our community services update for the big month of July for us. As I mentioned earlier, thank you. None of this would be possible without our amazing staff. And so I don't know if many of you know, but our team has grown exponentially just as the city has. We're now currently over 90 individuals, part-time to frontline staff through our programming, parks, and maintenance, and our coordinators. Not all of them could be here tonight to do this, but in order to showcase all the work that they do, we have our annual Parks Make Life Better video that we'd like to showcase tonight. So if we can go ahead and get that video started.
It's a beautiful day in Menifee, a beautiful day in Menifee. Could you be mine? Would you be mine? I have always wanted to live in a neighborhood like Menifee. I've always wanted a neighbor just like you. Oh, hi, Mr. CSD. Let's take a ride around town in Mr. CSD to see how parks make life better and how Menifee is striving to make our programs and services more equitable for all.
Good morning, Rangers. It's a beautiful day in Menifee.
It is a beautiful day in Menifee. Good morning, Miss Rogers. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's so nice to see you here at the Gale Webb Kids Are #1 Action Sports Park this morning.
It's great to be here.
I'm here today to ask you guys about what's coming up with the City of Menifee Parks.
Menifee has a premier park system with 3 additional parks coming up this year. We have Banner Park, which is a splash pad park, as well as Underwood Park, which is an all-inclusive, multi-use sports park.
And don't forget about Courts Ranch Park, right off Evans Road up the street. You know what, Miss Rogers? I got a great idea. What if you took the Ranger Patrol bike and went for a spin on the park? Are you ready, Mrs. Rogers? It's left foot, right foot, and let's go.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Well, thanks for the ride.
That was really good for a first time, Miss Rogers.
Guess I'm just a natural.
Heck, you've earned this.
Off to the next location. Hello, Miss Letty.
Hello, Mrs. Rogers.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. I'm just here to talk to you about the many programs you have to offer at Lazy Creek.
So here at Lazy Creek, we offer youth programs, and we offer just a couple. So at Lazy Creek, we offer Tiny Tots. We offer Tiny Tots Adventures, Journey, Spanish, Watch Me Grow, Fizzy Buzz. We also offer People Program Adventures. Oh, and we also offer Summer Adventure Camp. We also have summer teen camps. And we also offer Tiny Tots summer camps and field trips.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's just a few.
Wow, that is quite a few. Well, Letty, it's been great being here. I'm off to our next location. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Thank you, Mrs. Rogers, and what a beautiful day in Menifee.
Hi, Corey, how are you doing?
Hi, Miss Rogers, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you. It's a beautiful day in Menifee, and I'm here just to check in with you about contract classes today.
Oh, great. We offer a wide variety of contract classes for all age groups, including dance classes, horseback riding. Hey, do you like Zumba?
I love Zumba.
Ready, set, Zumba!
So much fun. I haven't worked that hard in years.
Okay, well, come back and take a class anytime.
Okay. Good afternoon, Aisha.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good. What are you up to?
Just cleaning up after lunch. You know, I got a little busy, and now we have to get ready for our next activity. We're going to have bingo, so it'll be very exciting. Would you like to help?
Sure.
Don't you have to go somewhere?
Oh, yes, movies in the park, movies in the park, movies in the park is happening. I made it to the parks after dark again!
Having like events like this put on by the city, having vendors out, I think that's very imperative for togetherness, and it shows that the city is engaged as well.
That was quite a day, and now I am ready to sit down and relax and enjoy this movie in the beautiful city of Menifee, and that's how Menifee's parks make life better.
All right, thank you so much. That concludes our update.
All right, thank you, Mariana, and thanks to the entire team. And that was Sarah who was playing Mr. Rogers, or Mrs. Rogers, right? Yeah, well, tell her well done. All right, we're going to move on now. We're on item 5.5. I see Captain Gutierrez working his way for his police department quarterly update. So welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Captain Dave Gutierrez with the Menifee Police Department. That's going to be an incredibly hard act to follow. A lot of great accomplishments and a very cool video. So I'm here to report on the second quarter of this year, which encompasses the period of April 1st of this year through June 30th. So this pie chart looks at our calls for service overall, which is 12,403 calls for service where no report was needed. That's the bigger chunk on the right. The ones on the left are calls for service that resulted in some sort of report, whether it be a criminal case, non-criminal case, also traffic collisions. For some more context to the pie chart, the alarm calls, which represent 6%, there's about 694 alarms that we responded to over that period of time. One of those was a true alarm. That was a business. 1,343 calls for service required a report of some sort. We had 142 traffic collisions. And then in addition to these calls for service, our officers and staff conducted 3,391 proactive events, which include stopping vehicles for traffic violations, pedestrians, bicyclists, doing business checks, those kinds of things. So here is our key measurement, how we measure our response to the community calls for service. It's our response times chart. Our key performance indicators are 8 minutes for priority 1 calls and 20 minutes for priority 2 calls. You can see over this quarter, we're at 8 minutes, 38 seconds for priority 1 calls and 17 minutes, 7 seconds for priority 2 calls. This is continuing to improve all the time. And I know there's probably someone in the room going, what's a priority 1 call and what's a priority 2 call? So glad you asked. Priority 1 are calls for service that are deemed to be in progress or less than 5 minutes old, and immediate police response is necessary to preserve life, or where an immediate response would be essential to apprehend a felony suspect. A priority 2 call is classified as incidents that have just occurred, do not pose an immediate threat to life, or where the apprehension of a suspect is likely and the threat to public safety is present. So that's how the dispatchers prioritize these calls for service using those definitions. Arrests, over that period, 317 people were arrested. You can see the percentages up there, but just for a little bit of context to a couple of those percentage points, domestic violence, we arrested 38 people for both misdemeanor and felony domestic violence, and 35 people were arrested for DUI. Just a real quick note on domestic violence. This continues to be not only high here in Menifee, but throughout the region. There's a lot of varying reasons that people talk about, but in a nutshell, we're trying to get more creative, and we're working with the Safe Family Justice Center to develop programs to get in front of some of these instances before they become a criminal act. So we're proud of that partnership, and we'll have more to report on that later. Traffic citations for the quarter, 1,352, slightly down from last quarter. But I'll tell you that our traffic team has been tied up. We have 2 new motor officers, and they've been in training for a few weeks, and 2 of our other motor officers are trainers, so 4 of them have been working together, and they're off to motor school next week in Marietta, and our 2 trainers will be assisting with that. So that's a 2-week class, so once they're done with that, then all 6 of our motors will be hitting the streets. So over that year period of time there, 1,578 is the average per quarter of traffic citations. Little update for code enforcement. You can see there 445 cases were opened, of which one of the bar graphs you can see that 62 of those events were proactive in nature, where our officers are driving around the community looking for things to help clean up the community. 280 cases were closed, and the team currently has 384 active cases. They wrote 99 administrative citations for violations. So this is a quick update on our Homeless Housing Opportunities Partnership and Education Program. We refer to it as HOPE. They are 2 behavioral health specialists assigned to our police department through the Riverside University Health System. It's a great partnership. These look like extremely high numbers. The 467, on average, they probably contact about 15 to 20 people per day. That doesn't mean, and those are repeat contacts. So in other words, some of these individuals are contacted multiple times, somewhere it's upwards 10, 20 times before they're willing to partner with us. We develop those relationships, and then they're willing to accept services. The new contact 70, those are all not individuals from Menifee. They could be passing through Menifee, but as these specialists are out and about in the community, if they see somebody that they believe they can help or that potentially could be homeless, they do stop and talk with them. Over the course of the period, the 3 months, 8 of those individuals were screened and assessed for substance use abuse treatment, and 7 of them entered treatment and successfully passed. So now those 7 individuals, once they pass that, they become eligible for sober living, which now they're able to have shelter, and they're no longer on the street. So those are huge successes for us. Update on our CBAT program, Community Behavioral Health Assessment Team. We have a clinician, again, through Riverside University Health System, partnered up with one of our officers who has specialty training in their job. The primary function of them is to respond to calls involving mental health issues. So they had 111 calls. Average time for each of those calls is about 45 minutes. So 47 in the month of June, a little bit of an uptick. So we're working through that, but the heat and some of the other things, potentially could cause that. School related, obviously school's out right now, but we are happy to report that even when school months are in, there's not a lot of mental health issues that our team is working with, but we do partner with the schools and make sure that we're in there providing services to them as well. So we wanted to highlight that on Tuesday, August 1st, we have our annual National Night Out event. It's going to be at La Ladera Park. This year it's going to be bigger and better. We're trying to keep up with community services. With their help, they'll help us do that. Going to be giving away 1,200 hot dogs. We're going to be giving away 500 backpacks filled with different school supplies, which is kind of cool. And kids will be given a free dessert. So if you're an adult, don't ask for a dessert. We're only giving it to the kids. Just kidding. We'll give you one too. So please join us out there. Lots of interactive events. All of our units are going to be out there. We're also going to have a lot of other community organizations out there providing information to the community and whatnot. So it's going to be a great event. Some of our community policing endeavors, we believe very much that community policing is the way to police our community. And that's engaging with all of our residents, businesses, and so forth. This was Coffee with a Cop. We've done about 6 or 7 of these so far. The most recent one here was in April. I've been a part of a lot of these, and a lot of our officers have where they came from. And I'll tell you that our events have more people that show up than I've ever experienced, and a lot of our own folks experience. So that just tells me that the community is, very supportive of law enforcement and wants to have that partnership to work together with us. So we appreciate that. Tip a Cop, I don't know if anybody in here had an opportunity to go to that, but that was in late June. It was a partnership with Special Olympics. We're looking to do it again at this one, what happened to be at BJ's restaurant, but we're also looking at doing it at Red Robin. The event raised over $3,000, and that money goes directly to the athletes so they don't have to pay registration fees, and it helps pay for their uniforms as well. This was a Know Your Limit campaign our traffic team did. It occurred on June 14th at Buffalo Wild Wings. Basically what this is the traffic team going in, interacting with patrons, and then seeing if they will voluntarily submit to a preliminary alcohol screening device test. And you have a conversation with them, hey, what do you think your blood alcohol level is? Well, I think it's this. Then they blow in the alcohol, the PAS device, we call it. Oftentimes it's higher than what they believe they are. So it's a way of educating them, like, hey, if you're drinking, don't drive because your BAC might be too high. Homeless outreach campaign, this was on June 21st. We went out into the community. Our POP team, our school resource officers, our explorers, and a lot of community volunteers and our own volunteers went throughout the community and just educating people on responsible compassion. Again, this is related to homeless population, and oftentimes people think they're doing the right thing by giving money or food or whatnot, but it's really, it's enabling them on some levels, and they don't use the money for its intended purpose. And so there are very good organizations in the community that can help if they're willing to, or if they would like to donate to that cause. So that was a very effective event. Independence Day celebration, as we know, that happened on June 21st, or 24th, I'm sorry. Here's a picture of just some of our volunteers and officers, and as I was looking at this slide, I'm like, man, if we ever have a mustache contest, we need to put Jack Hootie in that contest. He's in like 4 of these, but that mustache is impressive. I'm definitely jealous. But big event, well put on. They had a good time. This next one, we're blessed to have officers that really have a passion for community policing. So as they're out and about, they interact with the community. The one on the left was a lemonade stand, strawberry lemonade to be exact. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid and we had a lemonade stand, it was like 10 cents or a quarter. So inflation definitely affected the lemonade stands as well. Fishing, and then there was Slurpee Day, and then the bottom one is Coffee with the Cop again. So I didn't have a slide for this, but I wanted to highlight another program in the spirit of community policing that we're getting ready to launch, and we're going to be doing a press release this week on it, and it's YANA, and it stands for You Are Not Alone. Has anybody ever heard of that? Yeah, exceptional program. This is one that our own Lieutenant Revelis was at a volunteer coordinator class, and as she was networking, she was talking to a bunch of people, and she learned about this program. We're not the first ever to start this program, but we are, to our knowledge, one of the first in this area. And really what it's designed to do is provide a resource for those elderly population that live alone. It'll connect them with our staff, and then we can either connect with them by phone on a regular basis, or in some instances we'll go out and visit them at their home. So if anybody has a loved one or a family member that's at home alone, we would love to have them be part of the program. Press release, social media, we'll talk about how you can get them registered. It's obviously a voluntary program. It's a free program. Our volunteer program, police volunteer program, they will be operating it, running it for us. And just one of the things that I wanted to highlight was, the benefits. It provides peace of mind and sense of comfort and confidence for city's homebound, older, and disabled adult residents who enjoy the independence of living alone. And oftentimes our elderly community becomes subjects or at increased risk of being victimized from scams and otherwise. And so if we can get with them and engage with them and get them good, sound information on how to deal with those types of events, we can hopefully prevent them from being victimized. So look for that press release and the social media stuff on that, but we're happy that that's going to be launching here in the city of Menifee. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or.
I hear none, so thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, this just in.
Sorry, I pushed the wrong button. So I just want to say thank you for all that you're doing. I know that Menifee Police Department just celebrated their 3rd year birthday, July 1st.
Crazy.
And You know, we have the community policing that your police officers, code enforcement, the whole gamut, all that they do for our residents. I just can't say thank you enough for all that you're doing. I know you've had some rough calls too lately. So I do have a question on the alarms. So in a quarter, 6% was part of that pie. What was the number, 900 and something?
694 alarms.
694 alarms, and there was one true alarm?
One true business alarm, yeah. There was 346 business alarms and 348 residential.
And how is this affecting response times?
Well, it's definitely, to specifically quantify it, it's a challenge. But I will tell you, when we respond to these alarms and they're false, it takes our resources away from not only being able to potentially get to another another call sooner, because it may divert them to a different part of the city and then they have to go back, right? So the response time is a little bit longer. But it also takes them away from being able to be proactive and prevent crime. And our officers are very proactive. They love stopping people that are violating the law, and they love taking people to jail to prevent crime from occurring. And when they're responding to calls like that, it can certainly take them away from that. So it does have an impact, a negative impact.
So I know that it came before the council in the past, and is it coming back to us again to have a discussion on?
It will. We're close to bringing the council a very good, robust program that I think everybody will like. So it should be within the next month or two.
Because the main thing is the response times and using the officers where they should be used and providing the services where they need to be providing those services and not wasting their time in it. And so I'm glad it's going to be coming back. I thank you for that. And also, I'm excited to hear about this Yana program. But I just really, those pictures, the community policing and seeing our officers out engaging is wonderful. So thank you to our residents who also support our police department. Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Captain, and appreciate the good words, Councilmember Sobek. All right, we're on item 6 now. This is agenda approval or modifications. Madam Clerk, do we have any modifications to tonight's agenda?
No, we do not.
All right, council members, all in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, our agenda is approved. We're on item 7 now. This is public comments for non-agenda items. This is the time for members of the public to address the council about items that are not listed on the agenda. The Brown Act limits the council's ability to respond to those comments at the time that they're made. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes on any single item. Madam Clerk, do you have any speaker cards or any requests to speak on items that are not on the agenda?
Yes, I do. I have Ed Samuelson, followed by Christina Mills.
All right, very good. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Samuelson.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Edward Samuelson. I've lived in Menifee since July of 1988. I am also a Vietnam Desert Storm veteran with over 30 years of combined military service. I would like to thank the city for honoring those veterans who sacrificed everything for their country by holding a Memorial Day service every year. During the singing of the melodies for each of the services, the veterans of each branch in the audience were asked to stand. I noticed, along with a lot of other people in attendance, during the singing of the Air Force melody, Congressman Estrada stood up. Well, Councilman Estrada is a member of the Air Force Reserves, and I thank him for doing that. He is not a veteran. For a member of the Reserves or National Guard to be considered a veteran, they have to serve at least 20 years in reserve capacity or be on active duty federal orders for 120 days consecutive, 180, consecutive. These requirements have been in effect since Barack Obama changed them. Councilman Estrada has not met this requirement. My wife did talk to him, and he was not happy with what she had to say. He then came to me and asked me to control my wife, as he didn't like what she had said to him. I guess he didn't read the chapter in the handbook for new council members that states you are now a public official and subject to public comment, some of which you may not like. So you're just going to have to suck it up, Buttercup. I explained to the councilman he was not a veteran and informed him of the requirements for a reservist to be considered one. He stated he didn't know the requirement. Councilman Estrada needs to practice what he preaches to his students: do your homework. What Councilman Estrada did is really considered stolen valor, with which a law and ignorance of the law is no excuse. Councilman Estrada needs to apologize to the veterans of Menifee for his actions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Samuelson. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Christina Mills, followed by Jennifer Root.
All right. Welcome, Ms. Mills. Mrs. Mills.
Good evening, Mayor Zimmerman and City Council members. I am Christina Mills, and I'm the new president of the Rotary Club of Menifee for the 2023-2024 year. I'm very excited to take on this new role, and as a club, we have some very exciting things planned for the coming year. Rotary has a long history in Sun City and the city of Menifee, 60 years to be exact. We are active in the community in many different ways. We support the Community Cupboard, Santa's Workshop, Menifee Better Together, Millvet, the Menifee Police Foundation, the Inland Valley Boys and Girls Club, the local school districts, and many others. Internationally, the Rotary Club of Menifee was able to help financially support one of our members provide clean water in the Sudan. Deb has just recently returned and has quite the testimony. At the end of the last school year, Rotary handed out awards at 20 different elementary and middle schools. The award winners were chosen by the schools for having great citizenship and academics. These young citizens will be the leaders for the future. To support children in Menifee, next Wednesday night, July 26, Rotary will be hosting our second annual school supply drive at Buffalo Wild Wings from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Please support this drive by dropping off your school supply donations and have a bite on us. These supplies will be dispersed to the schools of Menifee Union School District, the Romaland School District, and the Santa Rosa Academy. As one of 4 siblings growing up in a single-parent home, I remember the struggles my mother had in providing the necessary supplies that I needed for a good education. We want to make sure every child has what they need for this school year so that they have the best one ever. At the high school level, Rotary has RYLA, Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. This is a life-changing weekend event for any young adult that is chosen. We will be working with the schools to select Menifee children to attend this program this year. The Rotary has a motto, service before self. That could be not more on display than tonight when we honored Rotarian Stacy Hartfeld. She's everywhere, as you said, and she always does it with a smile and a heart full of joy. Congratulations again to Stacy. Rotary is honored to be asked to come alongside the City of Menifee to assist with the State of the City celebration and the city's 15-year birthday bash. Later in the year, we look forward to our annual Mayor's Charity Gala, tentatively scheduled for March 1st, 2024. And we're looking to bring back the Menifee Motor Madness car show in the spring of 2024. As Rotarians, we try to live by the 4-way test. 1, is it the true? 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it bring goodwill and better friendships? 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And 5, will it be fun? Thank you for your time and your continued support. And as a longtime resident of Menifee, I'm committed to the city and as this Rotary Club of Menifee, which I am proud to represent before you tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mills, and thanks for coming tonight and introducing yourself. We hope you'll return periodically and give us some updates, because it's great to hear from our Rotary Club. All right, Madam Clerk, next speaker.
Jennifer Root.
All right, Dr. Root, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Zimmerman, Mayor Pro Tem Carwin, City Council members, City Manager Villa, City staff, and community. I'm Jennifer Ruth, the Superintendent of Menifee Union School District, and I wanted to come to thank the City Council and City staff for the efforts that are being made on the Normandy sidewalk. This was something that I know has been in the works for many years. I know my Board of Trustees felt it very important to ensure safe routes to travel, and very excited to learn that it will be being completed very close to within days of school starting. And I know that's a feat because construction has so many different facets to it. I also wanted to personally invite you to the ribbon cutting for Catherine Newport Middle School. It is July 26th at 8:30 a.m. and will be the ribbon cutting and a tour. It just seems like yesterday some of us were there doing the groundbreaking, and we're really excited to have, I think, close to 900 students beginning there on August 10th. And so again, I just want to thank the city for their partnership with our school districts, because it's when we work together that we do great things for kids. And if Gail were still there, we'd say kids are number one.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Root. Appreciate you coming tonight.
No other speakers.
All right, thank you. So, council members, we're going to move on our agenda now. This is item number 8, and it's council member updates and comments, and I'll start with Councilman Dinas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, on June 22nd, I attended the RTA Board of Directors meeting, and just a quick reminder that the RTA is offering the 25-cent ride through the summer. The 24th, I got to enjoy the Independence Parade and the celebration. The 27th, I was able to go to BJ's and enjoy a great meal, and with a tip of cop, they did a great job. Even met a gold medalist there from this Olympian, and the cops, maybe, captain, they may not want to quit their day jobs, but they did a pretty good job being waiters. Attended the RTA T-Now sub-region meeting on the 28th. Attended the Boulders groundbreaking on June 30th. And Sweet Tooth is really excited on July 1st to attend the Sweet Red Peach grand opening. And on July 11th, excuse me, Councilmember Sobek and I attended the 20th anniversary of the Oasis Blood Drive there. Thousands of gallons units, I should say, that they've collected and saved so many lives. So we enjoyed that. And then on that same day in the evening time, I attended the Underwood Park ribbon cutting. But I didn't get the in and out, so.
None of us did. All right, thank you, Councilman. All right, next up, Councilmember Estrada.
Hi, good evening, everybody. On the 28th of June, I took a fire station tour with our chief, Mr. Olson, and it was great. It was informative. I visited our fire stations, and I even went to the dispatch center over in Paris, and it was really educational. And a little fun fact for Menifee residents out there, we have cameras in Idlewild and over the Ortegas that overlook Menifee and help give firefighters a heads up of what's going on. So it was really educational for me, and I want to put a quick mention for anyone here or watching at home that CAL FIRE is looking to hire. Go to join.rvcfire.org. They're not just looking for firefighters, but they're looking for all professions there, and CAL FIRE would really appreciate your help and would love you to join. On June 29th and June 30th, I went to WRCOG and the Salute to the Elected. They were both dinners. And it was a great opportunity for me as a councilman and my colleagues to build relationships with our neighboring cities. Here in Menifee, we don't just have Menifee problems or issues. We deal with regional issues as well, and it's great building partnerships with our neighboring cities and being collaborative. So us as your council members aren't just working for you here in Menifee, but we're working regionally for you. Let's see what else I got. On July 1st, Sweet Red Peach, they're a brand new business that just opened up, and I want to wish them a lot of prosperity and success. On July 11th, I went to the Underwood Park ribbon cutting, and that's great news. We have more places to stretch our arms and get some fresh air, and there are more good park grand openings on the way, so I look forward to that. And for the record, I want to make a separate comment. I have never once verbally called myself a veteran, nor have I ever in writing called myself a veteran. And I would like to thank all the veterans out there who have served. That's all I got.
All right, thanks for your report. Councilmember Sobek.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I just want to say I wish all those people were still here that left. What inspirational beginning to our meeting tonight. And, you know, just thinking about our youth and Kahlil and, you know, Gail Webb and our sports park. It is important to us as a council to make our kids number one because they are our future. So it was a great beginning to the meeting. I belong to the Southwest Women's Elected. We meet together in the Southwest region on regional issues that would better the region. One of the subjects and committees that I'm on, along with Gina Gonzalez and then the mayor of Marietta, is the bringing higher education to our region, Southwest region. And I want to thank the mayor for attending that last meeting. It was great collaboration with our medical professionals and our education. We had MSJC there and we had San Marcos there, and it was a great conversation. Moving forward, we're hoping to do some great things here. I attended the city Independence Day celebration. I just want to thank you to our community service department for all that they did for our residents. What a great afternoon, great evening, great fireworks, and wonderful entertainment. I attended a few grand opening ribbon cuttings, and I just thought I'd just stick them all on here. We had the Sweet Red Peach that's over in the Menifee Lakes neighborhood, District 3. Cafe Mercado opened up, District 3. That's over in the Ralph's Shopping Center. What a great little coffee shop that is. We had our Underwood Park ribbon cutting grand opening, and I made, I don't know if it was a mistake. I liked having the kids up there, but I said, come on, kids. And so we got the kids in the picture because the park's all about them, right? Yeah. And then the boulders. We had a boulders ribbon cutting. No, that was a groundbreaking. And that is going to be a wonderful multi-use facility with luxury apartments, but medical offices and a child care facility. So great additions this last month. That we had a lot going on in the city of Menifee. I attended the WRCOG Assembly. I attended my Western Riverside County multi-species board, and I just want to say that I gave each of you one of these. This is a report out of the board. They went to Washington, D.C. to do some lobbying, and there's just some really great information in here about Riverside County being one of the largest land conservation lands plan in the nation, and it gives you information on the species. So take a look at that. It's really nice. As Councilmember Dinah said, we had the privilege of attending the Oasis annual blood drive, and I have to say the mayor came. It's just there was a mix-up on the time, and he had to get to another event. So we represented the council, but I just want to say thank you to Randy Curtis. Randy Curtis has been instrumental in the Oasis neighborhood for 20 years. I think they hold about 5 blood drives a year, and they have actually had over 100 blood drives that they do, and many lives have been saved because of the work and the volunteerism that this young man does in that community. So it was great. I attended NAOP. It's a commercial real estate development association. I attended a roundtable, quite interesting, good information, and I'm happy to share it with any of you if you're interested. And again, I mentioned about our Menifee Police Department and our heroes. One of our heroes in our city. I must say that, you know, I never want to leave out our fire department either, but I just wanted to say happy birthday to Menifee Police Department. They're doing great. A little bit of my report out.
All right, thanks for your report. Mayor Pro Tem Carwin's up next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was able to take a pass through our Sun City Farmers Market, which was great and growing. Not this past weekend because it was canceled due to heat, but the weekend before. With the entire council, I was at the Underwood Park ribbon cutting. And then I think for the rest of my announcements, I can just say I was with the mayor, with the mayor, with the mayor, with the mayor. I've tried to go to things without the mayor, and I'm just not able to do it. He's there at every meeting. I was at the Rotary Club meeting with the mayor, the chamber mixer at Urbane Cafe. We went down there to support a business community, which was a great event put on by one of our local businesses. The mayor and I attended the Campfire Youth Program at the Lazy Creek Youth Center, which was great. The kids were panning for gold over there, and that was fun to watch them get their hands wet and actually pan for gold. I'll put that in quotes. I went to the Chamber Wake Up Menifee at Nothing Bunt Cakes. That was also a great way to get free cake. I encourage them to do that all the time. And the last thing I'm gonna make one comment. I'm gonna make an announcement because of the extreme heat that we're having. I want to make sure everybody knows that we've got 2 cool centers available in the city of Menifee. If your air conditioning goes out, please, please, please find your way to one of our 2 cool centers that are open during basically business hours, which is the Case San Acero Senior Center and the Sun City Library in Sun City at the corner of Bradley and Sun City Boulevard. Please find your way to either of those. It's free to go there, and we'd really want you to stay safe. And then at Case San Acero Center, we've got staff who can organize any assistance. If you have trouble getting from home to the Case San Acero Center, call our staff there, and they can give you a variety of different options that we have to get you from place to place, because we want you to stay safe until this heat breaks. So please take advantage of that. It's available for all the citizens. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, very good report. I'm going to try to go quick. This is since our last meeting back in June on the 21st. We were dark the first week of this month. On Thursday, the 22nd, as Councilmember Sobek said, there was the Southwest Women's elected, and the topic was higher education. And I appreciate being invited as a guest to listen to what the plans are there. And then later, I assembled some care packages over at Millvet. On Friday the 23rd, the Rotary Club held an installation event for their new board to welcome them, and I attended that. So Saturday the 24th, there was our parade and Independence Day celebration. It was great to see tens of thousands of people there enjoying that. On Tuesday the 27th, I spoke at the Sun Meadows HOA. They call it their Coffee Clatch. And they had a lot of questions, and I gave a lot of updates on things that are happening here at the city. On Wednesday, the 28th, there was a chamber ribbon cutting for Cafe Mercado, and I joined my council members there, and the city manager was there as well, too. Thank you, Armando, for being there. On Thursday, the 29th, there was the mayor's idea exchange. The topic was advanced manufacturing, and I think that went very well. And then that evening was the WRCOG General Assembly event that Councilmember Estrada and Sobek joined me at. On Friday the 30th, the Boulders groundbreaking event was a little bit warm out there, but it was good to encourage them with their project. And then I was a speaker at the Friends of the Sun City Library that day. And then there was that event that Councilmember Estrada also attended called Salute to the Electeds. The speakers were our state and our federal representatives, and it was hosted by the Lake Elsinore Chamber of Commerce. On Saturday, July 1st, I was a speaker at a men's fellowship in Canyon Lake. Pastor Casey Crawford had invited me to come and speak to the men's group there, and I want to thank him for that invitation. And then later, that was followed by the Sweet Peach ribbon cutting, and we wish them the best. Seems like a really nice family that's running that. Friday, the July 7th, there was a Foodie Friday over at MSJC, and I got to tell you, that is just so well attended. There was about 40 or 50 food vendors, and thousands of people are attending that on a Friday evening. It's just wonderful to see so many people going there, and there was a lot of positive comments and compliments. So thank you to our team for helping make that happen, and thank you to MSJC for accommodating everybody in the parking lot there. On Tuesday the 11th, the Oasis had their blood drive, and as was mentioned, we have We were all told the wrong time, so unfortunately I couldn't stick around, but I'm glad to see it was a success. And then there was the ribbon cutting at Underwood Park, and it was great to see the Underwood family attending there. There's a gentleman named Ford Underwood who back in the 1950s bought that property, and he farmed it all through the 70s and 80s. And so it's nice to pay homage to the family and to see them there thanking us for honoring their grandfather. All right, on Wednesday the 12th, I went to RCTC meeting, and I want to share with my council members some good news. There was some grant money that we were afforded. It's LTF money, and it's $690,000 that is going to be used towards the cost of doing our Paloma Wash pedestrian bridge. So we received that, but I also want to share that they have a needs list, and our team applied. Thank you, Nick and your team. There's about 20 projects that didn't get funded, but they called the contingency list. And so that if one of the ones that did get funded drops off, those get funded. And our next project was also the top scored. So if one drops off, we're going to get it. And what that is our ATP project, the Active Transportation Bradley Road project in front of Chester Morrison School. It's kind of a safe route to school. So we're on the contingency list, and hopefully that works out in our favor and we can have both those projects funded. And just as a reminder, last month I announced that the city of Menifee did get TUMF backbone money for 24-25, and that was for our Scott Road Bundy project, $9.4 million. And then RCTC also awarded us Measure A regional arterial, they call it MARA funds. That was for McCall widening, $3.1 million, and Scott Bundy, another $630,000. So our team's doing a great job applying for grants because we can't afford this by ourselves, and we really need to have those regional funds. And so well done to the team, and congratulations to the city of Menifee for being able to receive those monies. All right, I'm going to move on now. Thursday the 13th, the Rotary Club had a meeting. Council member or Mayor Pro Tem and I joined that. And then later, the Southern California Edison has what they call the GAP panel, and that's government advisory. And I'm the representative for Menifee there, and the topic was their efforts for improving charging stations because they know how many electric vehicles are starting to flood the market, and the communities just don't have enough charging stations. And so they're encouraging our staff to require those on development projects, which I think we do, but they're also going to be working with us to help us with grants and things like that that could be available to help pay for installing charging stations for electric vehicles. All right, there was a chamber mixer at Urbane Cafe, as was mentioned, and it was their 1-year anniversary that night, so it was nice to celebrate with them. Councilman Carwin and I also assisted those park rangers at the Lazy Creek. It was a prospecting for the kids, and I think it was rhyolite. What was that pretend gold that they were getting out of there? But I tell you, it looked just like gold to me. It was fool's gold, yeah. So, but we got to talk a little bit about Menifee's history and our city's namesake. He was a gold miner in 1880. All right, Friday the 14th, there was a Romaland Elementary School Family Day, and it's part of their ELOP program, the after-school summer program. And so I set up with the history folks, and June's here in the audience, and she joined my wife and I, and we got to talk to the families that were there in attendance about the Romaland history and where the name Ethanak came from Ethan Allen Chase, and all of those good things, and they were all very interested. None of them knew about it, so it was good to be there. All right, on Tuesday the 18th, there was a chamber wake-up over at Nothing But Cakes, and as Councilmember Carwin said, it was nice to be there before it got too hot because it was early in the morning. Today, I'm sorry, that got canceled. All right, so I'm looking forward to our Moonlight Market. That's this Friday. It's going to be at Centennial Park at 6 p.m. And also there's going to be the ribbon cutting, as Dr. Root mentioned, on Wednesday the 26th in the morning at Catherine Newport Middle School. That's all I have. Anybody else have anything else to share? Hearing none, we're going to move along on our agenda as we have lots to do Next item is approval of the minutes, and these are the minutes from June 21st. Council members, do we have any modifications to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving them, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none, so those minutes are approved unanimously, and we're on our consent calendar now. All matters on the consent calendar are to be approved in one motion unless a council member requests a separate action on a specific item on the consent calendar, and if it's removed from the consent calendar, it'll be discussed individually and acted upon separately. Madam Clerk, do we have any request to speak on any of our consent calendar items, item 10?
No, we do not.
All right, thank you, council members. Do we have any items that we want to pull for separate discussion?
10.8, please.
Any others? All right, can I get a motion to approve the balance, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we'll go ahead and do our electronic voting, please. And that passes with 5 yeses unanimously, so we'll go to our first pulled item. This is 10.8. 10.8 is the agreement with Advantage Mailing for our printing services. Councilmember Estrada, what's your pleasure? Do you want a staff report or do you have a question?
I just have a couple questions, please.
It's all yours.
So, reading the report, we send out quarterly Menifee matters to residents, and we send biannual quality of life mailings to residents. And I was wondering if we as a city could save money if we combined both mailings, and what the figures would look like if we combined both mailings.
Sure, I'll take that. We can absolutely save money by combining them. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't here during the process when the Measure DD passed, but when we did go forward with that, there was a commitment to the public to report on what the funds were spent on. So that is the best avenue that we've used to be very specific and clear what is only the quality of life measure DD funding, 1% sales tax that was passed, versus anything else. And on the Menifee Matters, we talk about a lot of different activities that are coming up, that have happened, projects that are far beyond what the measured DD quality of life funds are used for. So it's the mechanism that the city committed to the public to do the reporting out. And it's important, you know, there are a lot of avenues to get information out, but it's important to make sure we're reaching every resident. And so, and to save money, of course, we wouldn't do this quarterly. Instead, we've committed to biannual. And what our focus has been on is focusing, as you know, but for the public to know, the Measure DD Quality of Life 1% sales tax was passed for public safety and infrastructure. So we do take a focus on fire public safety in one issue and police public safety in the other issue, but always covering the projects that are funded with quality of life funds, what the status is and what the upcoming projects are. So it's really a tool for the city to honor their commitment to the public and provide that information directly to everybody's mailbox to make sure everybody's receiving it. To your point, yes, we could save money on the printing and the postage, but it is so that we can honor our commitment to the public.
Yeah, and I'm all in favor of honoring the commitment and being transparent and sharing the information. I'm not trying to get rid of the information. I just want to consolidate it, possibly if we as a council believe we can save money and we're still sending the same information out, but putting the biannual newsletter within the quarterly. Do we have an estimate what that savings would be roughly?
It is approximately $25,000 per issue. We were previously having a consultant agency prepare the magazine for us, both Menifee Matters and the Quality of Life newsletter. We've just recently brought that in-house. We've hired Jasmine, who was here taking pictures earlier. She's completely revamped and really putting some cool information and catchy information for both the Menifee Matters and the Quality of Life, but that's enable the city to save quite a bit of money so that she can develop it in-house and make it more unique, revamping it. So we have saved some money there. But yes, it is approximately $25,000.
Okay, just to clarify, is it 25,000 each? So I'm sorry. So if we combine the biannual into the quarterly, is it would it then be a total of 50,000?
I'm sorry, no, it's $25,000 for the year. Yes,
Oh,
I
for the
apologize.
year.
I apologize. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I would be in favor of combining it if us as a council felt we could save the taxpayers money, use those Measure DD tax funds towards what it's intended to go. I think we could do the taxpayer a little bit more justice there.
Mr. Villa, would you like to share your thoughts?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and council members. I think it's good to recognize that we use the Menifee Matters magazine as an advertisement and community forum where we tell the community a lot about the events. The quality of life DD really becomes just a reporting mechanism to the public. And I want to share with the council and the public that we did get an inquiry from the Fair Political Practice Commission to be careful with the content of that, and we have tried really hard to make sure that the Quality of Life newsletter is not a propaganda. It's basically an informational facts reporting document to the community, and I wouldn't want the community to think that that's a propaganda issue if we combine it, because the Menifee Matters, it is a different kind of a magazine. So I just wanted to make you aware.
Okay, very good. I agree with that too. All right, council members, any other comments on that item? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with Councilman Estrada that taxing people and then charging them to tell them what we're doing with the tax money seems a little counterintuitive. The item we have on the agenda right now is whether to approve the funding for the current issue. So what I would like to do, maybe I'll revisit this in future agenda items, where after the Fair Political Practices Commission is done determining whether or not the DD is a proper newsletter, I might like to propose bringing this before the DD committee, the Quality of Life Committee, so they can determine whether that would be an effective use of the funds to combine, or whether the committee itself would rather have the separate standalone newsletter. I think that's part of their function to watchdog the money. But I wouldn't be in favor of rejecting this item for that, because I think it's too soon in time before the publication to reject this cycle, and then we wait to see what they do, because I think the Fair Political Practices Commission determination will impact what the options are on how we handle that in the future. So I agree with you, Councilman Estrada, that it does seem a little absurd to have two separate mailings if they can be combined and save money. But I'd like to hear what the legal perspective is on that. And I'll just give an advance notice. I'm going to bring that up in future agenda items unless Councilman Estrada does it before I do.
All right, and so are you saying you agree with moving item 10.8 forward, the agreement with the mailer for this postage and mailing?
Yeah, I think it's too close in time for this item to reject it and then revamp it. I think we've already got it going, and to get the information out, and because revamping the whole thing now before we get that thing. So yeah, I'd be in favor of approving this item if someone were to so move.
I have a question really quick. Now I want us to do things the right way, with that pending, what would be the penalty? Let's say we were to go through with this right now. What would the penalty be? Is there a fine? Would our tax savings outweigh the fine, depending on what the fine would be? Because it's already, they're going to make their decision where it's been done. But if we're going to save money going forward, I just would like to know, do we have an estimate what that litigation, what the answer would look like?
I'll defer to Ty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, council member. So I do not have the total estimated fine offhand. This is a matter that I have worked on for the city and so very familiar with it. However, I would like to say that part of the discussion is, like the city manager mentioned, is that the Measure DD flyer, I would say, is very fact specific and does not contain any type of advertising, emotional language, or anything to I guess, make people feel warm and fuzzy, right? It's very just the facts and the information. We do not know at this time what any potential fine would or would not be. It is our belief that the city has not violated any state laws or regulations, and that the continuance of this type of mailing would not be a problem under current state law. However, I do not have the number of potential fines offhand to let you know if it would be offset by the savings of $25,000 a year.
Okay, for the record, I want everyone to know I'm for the transparency, I'm for sharing the information, just trying to do due diligence to our taxpayers and saving money. So I'll keep an eye on it, and thank you to Councilman Carwin for keeping an eye on it as well. I think the taxpayers would appreciate that.
I just have one question for the city attorney. The way you phrase that is something I hadn't thought of. If the FPPC determines that it was an improper publication, are we going to get fined or sanctioned for each publication since the complaint was alleged because we continue to publish, or is it just for the original one upon which the complaint was based? So if we continue to publish and it turns out to be a violative publication, are we going to walk ourselves into more fines?
So I will answer that in a theoretical answer, just because I do not want to discuss any type of pending litigation or investigative matter. Typically, those types of fines are related to the instances at the time that it was discovered, and any new potential violation would be new cases that may be investigated by the regulatory body. At this time, I would say that it would be limited to what led to that particular investigation.
Thank you. And can I just add one more note to that? When we did receive that information, my understanding is that it was because we were not sending out that publication. Unfortunately, when we lost our public information officer to our neighboring city and we had a vacancy for a period of time, we did not have any coverage to work on the newsletter to be mailed out. So we did go a period of time without mailing it. And it's my understanding that that was during the period of time that we received the complaint issued to the FPPC and forwarded on to the city. So we wanted to be very careful with honoring, again, our commitment. And again, we did work very closely with the city attorney at that time with Ms. Fan, and she does provide a review of the publication in advance so that we make sure that we're very careful that we're not violating any of the accusations that were communicated to us from the FPPC.
And just as a final matter, I do want to steer us back to the discussion regarding the specific contract itself rather than any of the FPPC questions or what is contained in the mailer itself.
Councilmember Sobek.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I'm the only council member that was on the city council when the quality of life measure was voted on. Mayor, I don't know if you were attend. And I know that we made a commitment to our citizens that we would inform them and provide that information. And that is important to me, to keep my word to the residents of Menifee and to inform them and to have that transparency. And I understand the difference between the Menifee Matters and the publication of the quality of life. And I do believe that we need to keep it separate. Otherwise, we may have a violation from the FPPC. So those are my comments.
So the agenda item is an agreement with Advantage Mailing. I'm going to move approval.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Can we take our votes, please? I see that passes unanimously. We're now on our next item, which is item 11. and that is 11.1. This is our public hearing item. It's introducing an ordinance regarding appeals procedures and referrals back to the Planning Commission. And I see Mr. Darnell's here, so welcome, sir.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I'm Doug Darnell, Principal Planner, and this item is an amendment to Title II of the Municipal Code concerning requirements for appeals and referrals. So 2 sections are proposed to be amended. First, the provisions related to appeals procedures are proposed to be amended to change the time frame for holding a hearing on an appeal from 30 days to 60 days from the date of receipt of a written appeal request. And then the second part of the amendment addresses City Council referrals to the Planning Commission. This involves removal of the current 40 calendar day requirement for the Planning Commission to report back to the Council on referrals. The current language for the Council to specify, there is current language for the Council to specify the time period, and that language would remain in the code, but would just eliminate the 40-day limitation. So regarding appeals, we looked at the state law and what it requires local jurisdictions to do, and in looking at that, the proposed 60 days for a hearing on appeal is consistent with state law, which requires the determination to be made on an appeal within 60 days of an appeal request. Additionally, allowing for the 60-day time frame would offer the time needed for staff to adequately process and review an appeal request, as well as complete a staff report in time to meet agenda submission deadlines. In regards to referrals, council referrals to the Planning Commission, state law, we looked into the state law, and state law does not specify a time limit for Planning Commission's report back to the council. Removal of the 40-day requirement would allow more reasonable and flexible time frames depending on the complexity of the matter, where council would have the ability to determine the appropriate time frame on a case-by-case basis. So with that, staff recommends that the City Council find the proposed code amendment LR 23-0097 exempt from further environmental review under the California Environmental Quality Act, and direct staff to file a notice of exemption, and second, introduce an ordinance approving code amendment LR 23-0097, amending Municipal Code Title II, appeal procedures, and City Council referral back to Planning Commission. That concludes staff's report, and we are prepared to answer questions of the council.
Thank you, Mr. Darnell. Council members, do you have any questions? Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. It's 7:48. Madam Clerk, was this legally noticed, and do we have any correspondence?
Yes, it was legally noticed. No correspondence has been received.
All right. Do we have any speakers that would like to speak on this item?
No public speakers.
Thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing, 7:48. Council members, we can discuss now. Mayor Pro Tem Carwin, you're first in the queue.
Thank you. Two small things. One, in the language of the ordinance, there's a typo which creates a confusing language in the fourth whereas. It says the city occasionally receives appeal requests upon which, comma, city staff is required to review. That comma shouldn't be there. It's just whenever there's an odd comma, it creates a weird language issue.
Okay.
And then with regard to the referral back time, it says as set by City Council. Section 2.20.160, City Council shall specify a time within which the Planning Commission shall report back to the City Council. I would just like to add some language that be required to be set at the time of the referral, because it potentially creates an opportunity for a second hearing where if we don't set the date, are we setting the date then? Or are we setting another hearing to set a date?
I see.
I would just like that we're required at the time of the referral, so that way the applicant and everybody knows. I would hope that city staff would tell us how long they need and we can approve it. That way the applicant knows and they're not left hanging for another hearing to set the referral time.
Okay, that makes sense to me. And I think unless there's any
I'm not looking to lock in a time period. I want the flexibility there. I just want to make sure that we're required to set the referral time period at the time of the referral.
Mayor Pro Tem, so subsection B says at the time of referral, the City Council shall specify a time period within which the Planning Commission shall report back to the City Council. Would that satisfy your request?
Let me see here.
That is on the 3rd page.
Was that on there before? Did I miss that? Did I miss that phrase in there?
I think I just put it in while you were talking.
Good. I just want to make sure that was there, so that way it's not left hanging out there.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Any other discussion, council members? Before we take a motion, Madam Clerk, the motion is to find the code amendment exempt and also approving the ordinance, but would you read the ordinance, please?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Menifee, California, approving Code Amendment LR 23-0097, amending the City of Menifee Municipal Code, Title II, Chapter 2.20, Section 2.20.150, Appeal Procedures, and Section 2.20.160, City Council referral back to the Planning Commission.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move as council's recommending, as staff's recommending. Can I get a second?
Second.
Does that include the changes asked by the Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, it actually was in the proposed ordinance and the typo, yeah. All right, that passes unanimously. We are now on our first discussion item, item 12.1. The first is the 2023 Parks Master Plan adoption. And Ms. Mariana, welcome.
All right, so I do have a brief presentation on the 2023 Parks Master Plan update. If I could please get that up. So as we know, just a little bit of background, the whole reason why that we were asked to revisit the Parks Master Plan is because as an organization, as a city, we've grown exponentially and we've done a lot since 2016. So some of the things that you've seen just by the sheer number of park grand openings, since 2016, we've added 12 new parks to our park system, over 2 million feet of right-of-way landscaping that we now maintain as a department, 7th fastest growing city in the nation. And before, when we started this process a year and a half ago, we were kind of, as we were meeting with community groups and stakeholders, we were proud to say that of the recommended actions in the original 2016 master plan, of the 21, we had completed 19 of the 21, and we've now completed all 21, meaning the last one was the installation of the restroom at the Lyle Marsh Park. So these are all things that are leading towards us needing to take another look at what the next 10 years is going to look like for the city of Menifee, our park system, our recreation programs, and our open spaces. So one of the things that we really took the time to implement during this process was community engagement. One of the things that we knew is that because Menifee was growing in so many different ways, we wanted to be able to reach residents of all demographics, all ages, different areas within the city. So we took this information and took all of these presentations and meetings out into the community, and we were made ourselves available to anybody who wanted to talk about the Parks Master Plan and through number of workshops, a number of strategic planning meetings, dedicated project website. So a number of these things that we wanted to make sure that if anybody was looking for an opportunity to share their insight, share their opinion, their wants, hopes, and dreams for the city of Menifee and our park system, we made it available to them. So again, our community engagement was very present through the months of July through about October, when we were able to gather this information, including that statistically valid survey that was mailed out to over 4,000 residents, and we received about over 800 responses. So really proud of being able to get that much community engagement for something like the Parks Master Plan. Some of the key takeaways after the community engagement component and the surveys were gathered, and working with K2A, who was our consultant, that we saw the important thing is that none of these things were necessarily a surprise. These are all things that we've already heard from our community members. These are things that as an organization we're making active efforts to work towards. So things like splash pads, aquatics programs, more fields, more lighting. These are all things that we're well aware of. So it was really great to hear and kind of confirm that we're headed in the right direction. One important thing I do want to note that from the survey, 42% of respondents were unaware of whether which agency, whether it was Valley Ride or the city of Menifee, actually operated their local park. So again, just things that we had information on, but it's nice to have the data to validate that information. Some additional feedback. As K2A compiled the official report, we took the report to our Parks, Recreation, Trails Commission for final review on May 4th. We also had a month-long public comment period from April 10th through May 10th, and then also our City Council special meeting workshop on May 31st. So from some of these meetings, we had some additional comments that we wanted to integrate into the final draft, which is presented today. Some of the things like from the month-long public comment period, we got a total of 5 emails during that time period. Most of them were related to pickleball, which is interesting. Pickleball community really came out to support this master plan, but also the updating information on our shade structures. That was something about Menifee being really hot, as we're all experiencing now, and again, wanting to ensure that as we move forward in building our playgrounds, that we're taking that into account. Which, if you've all been to Underwood Park in Remington, I think we're making great strides in that direction. Also, some clarification of some of the information that was presented to council, and also including the opportunity to explore partnerships to develop regional parks for both the natural open spaces and sports regional parks. So those are all things that were added into the recommendations. So when we come to the recommendations, K2A provided us 6 very distinct categories when we talk about the first 2, including its facilities, amenities, parks, and programs and services. These are things that we're doing, and we want to make sure that we keep doing well. Improving, these are kind of the behind-the-scene things like administrative and financial, kind of trying to find the right funding to increase, enhance, add programming, and then also strengthening our administrative component so that we can make these amazing things happen. And then integrating some of the bigger, newer, kind of making those connections to things beyond just parks and places. So that would include our trails, connectivity and open space, placemaking, and technology. So in the conclusion, again, this is a very extensive report. I think it's just a little over 129 pages. Chapter 6 and Appendix C are where we really dig into the exact recommendations, where we're giving short, mid, and long-term goals, things to work towards to really kind of help the city of Menifee work towards the 5 parks per 1,000 resident goal, which is something that we've set. And again, to continue enhancing our current services, working together with all of our community organizations, increasing our partnerships, and then looking at some of those infill opportunities of where we currently don't have services or amenities, and how can we work with what's available, additional grant funding and in our community organizations to kind of fill those gaps. So with that concludes my report. If there's any other questions, our recommendation is to adopt the resolution approving the Parks Master Plan.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Council members, any questions? I do see the Councilman Dinas is first in the queue.
Thank you. At the Underwood Park ribbon cutting, I was approached by residents asking where the nearest splash park was, you know, and we told them the good news that the one's in the plan, but you know, I don't know how big that one's planned, but probably because of the weather right now, I got a feeling you might see, you know, heavy use. But is there, I mean, maybe we should think about in the future, you know, other parks that may have it, or retrofitting some parks to make sure that there are splash pads throughout the community, the city, so that everyone doesn't converge when it's 102 out on one splash park that couldn't handle that many people.
Yeah, we anticipate with Banner Park being the first and only splash pad in Menifee, it is going to get a lot of use. It is our first venture into an aquatic-like facility like a splash pad, so it may be a little bit on the smaller side, but it will help us figure out how to integrate it into future parks.
Maybe we take those lessons learned and start applying that to other parks. That'd be a request. My other question was on slide 5. Under number 2, you have clarity impact of HOAs and accessibility. And under that, you have determined potential impacts of organized sports tournaments to HOA communities. Could you explain all that, what number 2 all means?
Yeah, that was some of the feedback we received at the special meeting, the City Council special meeting on the 31st. And there were some questions on whether or not, you know, the HOA, I think in the document it was listed as something that might cause a disparity with amenities. And so we just kind of clarified that language so it didn't necessarily read that way.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next is Councilmember Sobek.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm so glad that we are updating our park master plan. And I know a lot of work's been put into it, and we've had a lot of residents who have provided input. I remember one resident who even came to our city council meeting to talk about the lack of volleyball, indoor volleyball recreation facilities. And I didn't see that emphasized. I know that we had a lot of those requests for volleyball, indoor recreation facilities. So I just wanted to make sure we don't forget that.
No, that's definitely something that we're looking at when we talk about the multi-generational use facilities. That would also include recreation centers and community centers and gymnasiums. So that would be part of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I love what Councilmember Dinah said. I know I mentioned this, and it kind of got overshadowed a little bit at the parks workshop, and I just had made a suggestion. I know that we had in the report to look at some of our parks where there's space that's underutilized, and maybe we really look at least starting in one in each district of the city, a splash pad, that we really take a look at that. So I want to put that out there as well. Something that I know I've been hearing at this dais is an interpretive center of sorts, a ranger center all in one. Didn't see anything about that. I know it was brought up at the workshop as well. So I want to make sure that we add that if it's not added, that maybe we have, even if we need to have a discussion on it.
Yeah, there are some recommendations in Chapter 6 about nature and open space and interpretive programming specific to our park rangers, and we are making our first step towards something like an interpretive center with the park ranger station that we're looking to build at AMR. So,
well, that is probably not the vision that is envisioned. So that will. Yeah, so
yeah,
maybe
that's just our first step as we work towards it.
Right, and then I did see the credits, and I appreciate that they gave credits to our Parks and Trail commissioners. But I was wondering if we might want to add Tom Gidroyce retired, since he was very much a big part of it.
Yes, we can certainly do that.
Okay, that's what I have. Thanks.
All right, those are all good suggestions. Councilmember Estrada.
Yeah, it's really hot lately, and people would love a place to go that's local. I remember Mayor Zimmerman, you at one time were instrumental in helping the city of Menifee working out a Menifee Day with the Paris Fair. Yeah, so is that, and I understand our city helped contribute to the development of that water park that borders there, the drop zone in Paris. Is that, can we give, Mr. City Manager, is that something we can give staff direction to do to help work out an agreement with the drop zone to help compensate prior taxpayers and maybe creating a discount program with the drop zone, or would that be more of a future agenda request?
I think it's in a county. It's just the parish proper. We can certainly explore that, the idea of making that facility, making the residents more aware of that facility, because I think it is extremely underutilized and there's a lot of water opportunities there. So we can explore that, and then we can probably coordinate with the county on a city specific day where, you know, maybe we take a hot summer day, some day in July, then we do a Menifee day. So we'll take that under consideration and try to include it as part of our recreational operational plan.
Thank you, because if we come up with a discount, I'll be there.
Mr. Nix, don't we already take some of our Tiny Tots program kids from Lazy Creek over there on a field trip?
Mayor, yes, we do that as part of our sports camp, but definitely opening up to a wider audience and having a day where anyone can go over there at a discounted rate. That's something we could explore.
I love the idea, and I'm glad you brought it up, and I hope we can put together a Menifee Day for all of our residents.
In addition, you know, they have annual passes, and this is like the low-hanging fruits for things we can do for our residents. It'd be nice to work with the city, some kind of a discount rate for a bulk amount of annual passes that our residents can buy at a discount so they can use it the entire summer. Second, I talked at one time when we had the grand opening for the Heritage High swimming pool, I talked to the superintendent, and he was more than willing to talk about sharing that. And so these are the things that we could be doing immediately for our residents, but we need to get, should have been done 6 months ago to anticipation for the warm weather we're having. But this is something I think we can start looking at and fulfill these needs immediately.
Very good point. I agree. I'll just let's see. On this one, I think we're on a question still, right? So let me just ask real quick, and then we can have discussion, because I don't remember. Did I already ask if we have any requests to speak on this item?
We do not.
And have we received any correspondence on this item specifically?
No, we have not.
All right, thank you. So I do want to kind of, and I'm glad Councilmember Sobek talked a little bit about the open space. And I read through this hoping to find some new language since our council workshop, and it looked like it was pretty much the same language. It's very generic and general, talking about open space areas and things like that. But I'm really hopeful, and we don't need a parks master plan to tell us to do this. We can do this as a council going forward, but I'm hopeful that we can create a permanent ranger headquarters, and not the temporary modular thing we're talking about doing at Audie Murphy Ranch Skate Park, but that would also include an area for fireside chats, and also a bit of a history and culture, Native American displays, animals that are in this area, coyotes and bobcats and all those kinds of things that we can have. We've seen those at other parks, and it's just a special thing. And yes, we need more recreation and more sports facilities with lights, but we also need something like this. We're 15 years old, and I think we're there and ready for that. And I know our park rangers would absolutely love to be able to have some real headquarters. So I'm hopeful that we can use some funds that I know have been earmarked for that type of thing, for creating an opportunity to mitigate some of the impacts of industrial projects and things, to be able to put those funds to use either at a place that we can acquire. And I know staff's going to have to do some investigating and see if property owners that are in a place, I would encourage us to look for a place that has oak trees. And I know there's properties that have 500-year-old oak trees that were here before the Spanish missionaries set up along the coast, and there's still here those same trees. To me, that's special, and it's the kind of thing I hope we can preserve, take advantage of. So anyway, I don't see that in the as specific as we just were tonight here. It's more general, saying let's look for opportunities for open space support. Okay, great, it says it. So, but I want to just re-emphasize that I think that's something. And council members, do we all kind of agree that this is something we ought to work towards? Everybody's nodding. Okay, good.
I'd like to know more about that, what that would entail, and does that require buying property that might be utilized for different purposes? I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but just saying, yeah, please make sure I need to know more about it to get fully on board, but I'm not opposed to it.
Good, absolutely. And of course, we would do a full due diligence and all of that, similar to when we've purchased existing buildings and things like that. We
Maybe,
would
Mayor,
need to.
you could put that on as a future agenda item so we can have a discussion on
All right,
it.
that's a good idea. Mr. Villa, did you want to share on that?
Yes, Mayor. I think we can get there, and we might be able to include some verbiage in there that we can include it as a policy to start looking at. And I think you are referring to the development agreement benefit amount that we got from a developer in that area that has yet to be allocated by the council. And if we have consensus from the council today, we can certainly start looking at bringing back an item in the future that talks about allocating that money for that intended purpose.
I would concur on that.
And I concur. Does everyone concur to let's have a discussion about using that money?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds like we got all five of us. So thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. And thank you, Mariana. So, council members, do we have any more discussion on the item? Are we ready to adopt a resolution that adopts our park master plan? How
So
about
moved.
a motion? All
I
right.
make a motion.
All right.
I'll second it.
All right. Perfect. And as we're voting, thank you to our partners at KTUA and also Matrix. They did a very good job, and it's a very nice looking report too. It's easy to read, so give them some kudos, and thank you to our staff. All right, so that passed unanimously. So let's move to our next discussion item. This is item 12.2. It's noise concerns on Newport Road corridor, and I see Lieutenant, right? Or is it Captain now? I'm sorry.
Captain Eddie Gutierrez.
I don't want to demote you, Eddie. So Captain Gutierrez is here. Thank you for joining us.
No problem. My pleasure. Hello, everybody. Good evening. And yes, I'm here to talk today about noise concerns on Newport Road. We had a previous question posed in council regarding noise concerns on Newport Road, and today I'll try to explain the efforts of the police department in mitigating some of those noise concerns on Newport Road. And what I'll do is I'll talk about a little bit about Newport corridor itself and what it is, and some of the methods currently used to reduce highway noise, as well as current traffic enforcement and current methods for identifying areas of concern along the corridor. So Newport Road, as you all know, is the main thoroughfare throughout Menifee. It's about six miles long. It has multiple lanes in each direction, plus turning lanes and center medians and turn pockets. And it serves not only the community of Menifee, but people that are driving through and trying to get to other cities, and as well as businesses. So with that said, it is a high noise traffic corridor, which is bordered by businesses and residential properties. Now, the bordering of these properties along Newport Road means that the properties are generally separated from the roadway by either walls or trees and sidewalks, depending on the layout at that specific intersection or stretch of roadway. Most of these walls are cinder block walls that serve as sound barriers for those areas. And the vegetation also in those areas serves to mitigate some of that noise. Now, the corridor, as I said, accommodates access for local residents and business goers and long-distance commuters. And for these reasons, traffic can be pretty plentiful along the corridor, as you all know, at any given time of day or night. specifically at the multiple intersections that we have with vehicles stopping there. Now, with increased businesses in our area, we do have large trucks that traverse the city and use the corridor and create a large amount of traffic noise. Now, some of the methods that we try to use to mitigate some of that highway noise is traffic management techniques, which include specific speed limits along the roadway, and also things like traffic light timing, so that we can ensure that vehicles can flow smoothly through intersections and aren't stopped at an intersection for excessive amounts of time, therefore creating loud noise for large periods of time. There's also, as I said, vegetation efforts with trees and shrubbery along the corridor and along center medians to help control some of that ambient noise throughout the roadway. And then noise barriers, as I mentioned, in the form of walls. Some of our current traffic enforcement efforts include enforcing laws that are currently on the books with respect to loud and unlawful mufflers on vehicles, excessive noise from vehicles in the form of music, or excessive use of horns, for example, loud and annoying horns, and of course modified exhaust systems. Some of the other laws that are on the books that we currently enforce to help reduce noise along the corridor are speeding, reckless driving, and exhibition of speed, as an example. All of those things contribute to a lot of noise along the corridor. Currently, aside from enforcement, we also conduct education of the public to help reduce some of those noise concerns on the corridor. We do things like social media efforts in notifying the public of that we're out there conducting traffic stops and DUI checkpoints and things like that. We participate in programs sponsored by the Office of Traffic Safety, like DUI checkpoints, the Click It or Ticket programs, the Know Your Limit campaign, which was discussed earlier by Captain Gutierrez, where we educate the public as to, DUI driving and whatnot. So those types of education efforts also help the public follow the rules of the road and therefore reduce noise levels along the corridor. Now, some of the methods that we use to identify areas of concern along the corridor include collecting our own traffic data with respect to traffic collisions that occur on the road and documenting where we're actually issuing the most citations to then help us redirect our efforts and focus on certain areas. We use reports and information from concerned citizens and residents that tell us where the problems are so we can direct our efforts there. And of course, recommendations from our staff, our officers and volunteers that are out there observing the traffic let us know where the issues are on Newport Road. So that's how we go out there and make enforcement. Now, we understand that the Newport corridor is the largest corridor in the city. It has high volumes of traffic, and with it comes a lot of noise. So we will continue as a department to enforce the traffic laws that are on the books to help reduce traffic concerns. We'll use our police officers, our volunteers, our code enforcement officers, and information from our public and citizens to help direct us appropriately. So that's all I have to present today on that concern, but I'm prepared to answer some of your questions if you have any or comments.
All right, thank you, Captain Gutierrez. Council members, any questions? Councilmember Sobek?
Yes, thank you for your report, Captain. And I brought this, I asked for this because I'm getting a lot of complaints between not the whole corridor, but a section of the corridor, and that is between Menifee Road and Antelope Road, where the houses definitely back up to Newport Road. So a couple of, I looked at what a few other cities were doing. And one of the cities that I looked at, they named certain corridors in their city as quiet zones. And I was just, as I read that, I thought of some other corridors. One I thought of was McCall between Marietta Road and Sun City Boulevard that may become a problem when we have the housing development come in to the west. And so I'm wondering, can you, as a police department, look at a quiet zone? There's a sign in one city that says quiet zone, loud cars and cars with modified mufflers will be cited. And it's just a sign that they put in that section. So I'm just asking, can we do something like that where we look around the city, we look at potential areas, and we may only start off with just a couple of areas, but as the city grows, we may end up with a few more. So I have so that's my question on that one. So that's one question. Do you want to answer that
Sure.
one? Okay.
So there are such things as quiet zones. However, we would have signs everywhere because everybody would like quiet on that stretch of corridor. But so what we do is we use current vehicle code laws to enforce those things because they're already on the books. If there's loud mufflers and things like that, then we issue the citations if we see the violation. Now, we do have laws that, like I said, are on the books for us to enforce. A sign can be posted to indicate that those types of things will be enforced if that's what that community desires. I will look into it a little more deeply to see what requirements there are for us to erect those signs, but simply telling the public that violations of such will be enforced, there's nothing wrong with that. We can do that. The issue would be the ability for us to be there to see it and cite it and observe it. Right. Now, that stretch of corridor that you're talking about has a speed limit of about 45 miles per hour, which is posted. And there is a lot of traffic there that has that intersection there that stops cars for several minutes. So vehicles have, go ahead, miss.
But it backs up.
Correct.
It backs way up, and cars are constantly just sitting there.
Correct.
At certain times of the day.
So one thing that we can look at is maybe the timing of the street light to see if it's appropriate. It may be time to reconsider how long cars are stopped at that intersection to continue to have them flow freely and be stopped there for less amounts of time. Vehicles are allowed to idle on the roadway if they're stopped lawfully for a light or another type of traffic device, such as a stop sign, as an example, or a red light. So that may be something that we can look at, is maybe retiming those street lights to get those cars flowing a lot faster. Now, there are quiet zones that some cities erect with respect to railroad crossings. Those are governed by the Federal Railroad Administration, but that's not the case here, right? But we can definitely look at that a little more.
Yeah, I just ask if you would please have a discussion on it and look at certain corridors, sections maybe of corridors, because I don't believe this would be good for the whole Newport Road corridor, but possibly that one section between Menifee Road and Antelope is just, it just backs up there. And now this is not a question, it would be a discussion item, but what I'm seeing and what I actually heard on the news last week, there's a craze right now of modifying mufflers, and they're loud. I actually have a neighbor now who's doing that, and they start their car up, and it's the decimals is way above what it should be. And I'm hearing them along Newport, but on the news last week, there was a city that actually just created an ordinance because they're having issues with that. It just seems like it's a popular thing to do right now. And so can we also, how you do the click it a ticket, how you do bike safety, how you do the crosswalk programs that you do once in a while, maybe we can do something similar where loud exhaust strictly enforced. The officers go out on a day and they actually listen for those types of things and try to cite. It's just a day like they do the other things.
Correct. And we actually do that based on the Office of Traffic Safety grants,
okay,
where we do equipment violations.
Okay.
So we just focus on things such as that.
Okay.
But we obviously have a lot of programs that we target on, but that is one of them.
Okay.
But
And
we
I
can
just-
continue for sure.
I just know now, since it's summer, there are people that have more windows open in the evening, right? And so they're hearing this probably more than in the winter time. So anyway, that was why I brought it forward, was particularly that section of the corridor, and maybe looking at other sections in our city, other corridors, that this might be a need to have a quiet zone. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Madam Clerk, was there any request to speak on this item?
No requests.
And then correspondence?
No correspondence.
All right, council members, any other discussion? If I could just encourage, maybe, our staff's pretty creative, and I know the police department has a PIO that gets some pretty interesting and humorous posts every once in a while. Maybe we can do something that just helps let people know that there are residents there. Maybe we can be a little more respectful as you're driving along near residents, if you don't mind turning the boom boom stereo down, or not revving up if you've got one of those cherry bomb exhausts or whatever, you know. So I don't know if we can do a social media, but I appreciate you guys being willing to enforce as much as you can. Is there anything else that the city council can do to help you? Because sometimes we hear, well, the council needs to do this or that, and then we can fix the problem. Is there anything we can do?
We're extremely supported by you. We appreciate it. And I think what we'll do here as a department is really work with the traffic engineering department to collaborate and come up with more creative ideas to target these types of issues. So I appreciate the support.
All right, very good. Anything else, council members? This is a receive and file item, so there's really not much for us to do.
One other thing is, and as you work on that, maybe an appropriate monthly update on, or the quarterly update on the police department, if you could add that to your report when it's appropriate, to let us know some of the discussions you've had and some of the ideas you've come up with.
Specific to that issue?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Captain. We appreciate you being here tonight and the updates. Let's move to our next one. It's 12.3. This is the feasibility of establishing a volunteer traffic enforcement unit. And I believe that Councilmember Carwin put this on the agenda. But I don't know, Captain Gutierrez, are you going to give us a little update on that?
Yes,
Okay.
if that's what the council would like.
Sure.
So yes, a feasibility of establishing a volunteer traffic enforcement unit. I'm here to present some input on how we use our volunteers to help with traffic enforcement now, and some of the options that we have moving forward. So the Menifee Police Department currently has a group of 15 police volunteers that are an asset to the department and the community that we serve. They perform a variety of duties already, our volunteer group does, that do not require police powers. These include such duties as directing traffic at collision sites or at vehicular accident sites. And also they help us patrol business districts, residential areas, and school zones. And then they are essential in increasing police visibility in those areas, and then observing and reporting crime so that we can dispatch police officers to handle things appropriately. They also help us with clerical and management needs within the department. One of those things was mentioned earlier is the YANA program, so the volunteers are very helpful for us. Now, when assigned to field duties, our volunteers are encouraged, as I said, to observe and report criminal activity as opposed to getting personally involved. Now, they conduct field duties in vehicles that are clearly marked as volunteer vehicles. They're all white in color, and they have amber lights, and they have letters that say volunteer, police volunteer. So this type of patrolling by the volunteers is an effective way, we think, to help increase our footprint in the city, and therefore deter crime and deter vehicle code violations in the areas in which they're present. To this day, we found this to be the best way to use our volunteer program and our officers out in the field. Now, to enforce traffic laws and to issue traffic citations in the state of California, a peace officer must conduct, obviously, a traffic stop of the violator. Now, to do so, the police officer needs to be operating a police vehicle that at a minimum is equipped with a forward-facing red light, a solid red light, and a siren. Now, this vehicle should be clearly identified as a police vehicle. This is all outlined in the California Vehicle Code, which states that drivers in California must then yield to clearly marked vehicles when they're instructed to do so by a peace officer. So because of this requirement that's outlined in the Vehicle Code, police agencies cannot use volunteers to conduct traffic stop and therefore traffic enforcement. Now, traffic enforcement in the state of California also requires that peace officers attend formal training, a police academy, which includes 664 hours of formal training. Now, without the completion of this academy, then one cannot enforce laws in the state of California, and one is not recognized as a peace officer, and therefore cannot detain motorists or issue citations. This makes it virtually impossible for us to use our volunteers or a volunteer group to conduct traffic enforcement. Now, the issue of traffic enforcement also poses concerns of safety and danger. So putting our volunteers in that position would not be appropriate for us. It's not a risk that would be good for them or anybody involved. Now, some ways that we currently use our volunteer program to assist with traffic enforcement is we use them to conduct, as I said earlier, extra patrols of traffic areas within the city and then report their findings so that we can have officers go out there and write citations or educate the public. They also participate in crosswalk safety operations as decoys in the crosswalk, and then our officers can issue citations if there's a violation. They help conduct patrols at our school zones to increase visibility, deter crime, and deter traffic violations. And they help participate in DUI checkpoints where they conduct a variety of clerical duties, they direct traffic for us, and they help in that manner so that our officers can focus on enforcement and education. So currently there are no laws in the state of California that allow for a volunteer traffic enforcement unit. So therefore we believe that the best use of our volunteers and the manner in which we've been using them is to help supplement our efforts and support our police officers and our staff to be out there enforcing citations and tickets while they help us in other duties, specifically with high visibility and observing and reporting. So with that said, we're trying to get creative in adding other ways to use our current volunteer group, which I mentioned was made of 15 volunteers. We're trying to get it to 30, but we're considering having them maybe sit at specific posts, observing violations, radio them in so that we can then deploy our officers, with the OTS operations where we're in the area and they can then observe, report it, and we can go and conduct the traffic stops. So we're trying to get creative in that respect to get them out there and make better use of our volunteers. So unfortunately, like I said, no laws currently on the books that allow us to use volunteers for traffic enforcement, but we're trying to get creative. Are there any questions that I can answer? It's a tough one, but we definitely want to use our volunteers and get out there more, and expand our control over traffic violations for sure.
All right, thank you, Captain. First question comes from Councilmember Sobek.
Yeah, I just have a question. How many volunteer cars are there available?
We currently have 2 volunteer cars available.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Carwin.
Thank you. I appreciate the comprehensive breakdown. Let me give you a very specific scenario that I had in mind when I raised this issue. The red light runners at Hahn and Newport Road are an epidemic, and we cannot dedicate a motor to sit out there and do traffic stops all day, every day. So I also know that red light cameras are done away with essentially in the state of California. And a red light violation is an infraction which requires personal observation by law enforcement. So I was hoping that there was some sort of hybrid in the observe and report arena where we could have somebody who's not a sworn armed officer who could be out there to make an empirical human observation under the authority of our law enforcement service with the proper training, that when they can observe black and white that somebody has violated a red light, that they can document it, pass it along to law enforcement, and a citation can be issued by mail. As if, I guess for a lack of a better term, a human red light camera to circumvent the red light camera restrictions in the state of California. It wouldn't require a traffic stop. It wouldn't require law enforcement to be present and conduct a traffic stop. So I was wondering if there was a training we could give to volunteers or CSOs that would permit them to pass along the information of violation and then serve as a witness if contested in court for enforcement of a violation like that, as a means of bringing that down and spreading out our resources.
Well, currently, the violation would have to be observed by a peace officer for it to be issued, or somebody who has taken a course, in this case, a police officer, to issue citations. Like, as an example, at a scene of a traffic collision, we can issue a citation if we believe the person was speeding and then caused the collision, but it would have to be a peace officer. One thing that we've considered with our volunteers, talking about being creative, is using them in that same manner, but then sending out notices to the drivers, advising them that, hey, we observed you speeding, please slow down, kind of an education tool, and help us in that manner.
Just the idea of having the volunteer, a uniformed volunteer present at the intersection, would give the impression of law enforcement.
Correct.
That would be great. If that's something that we can do, we need to have a presence out there more than we can afford with our sworn officers. And that was kind of the program that I'm looking for. So any way we can utilize we can place volunteers at locations to present a law enforcement type presence who would be able to serve as witnesses if need be. And then the idea of sending out the warning saying, hey, we saw you do this, don't do it again, otherwise, we'll be on to you. That's something that I think I'd love to see us pursue, which is the reason I brought this up.
And when you brought that up, we started looking at that option with our volunteers, just being creative, thinking outside the box. And we think it'll be a positive operation, and we think it'll work. So that's kind of in the works right now.
So the agenda title was the feasibility of using it. So is feasibility high in that regard?
In the regard of the observing and then maybe sending out some mailers, yes.
Excellent.
Any other questions, council members? Mr. Villa?
Yeah, perhaps I think it's a matter of enforcement. And I think you heard from Captain Gutierrez earlier today that we will have about five to six, right? Six motor units out on the streets in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks, right? So we know what the hot areas are, the areas of where these things take place. So we're probably going to ask our police department to watch those areas and increase enforcement in that.
My next Halloween costume is going to be human red light camera. Sorry. All right, Madam Clerk, any requests to speak or correspondence on this item?
Neither.
All right, thank you. Council members, any other discussion? This is a receive and file, so we're good? All right. Thank you, Captain. We appreciate you updating us on that thought. All right, we're on item 13, City Attorney reports. Do we have anything, Ty?
No report tonight. Just thank you for having me here.
And we appreciate you filling in for Mr. Melching. All right, Mr. City Manager, do you have anything to report?
No items to report, Mayor.
All right, council members, any future agenda requests? Councilmember Sobek?
Yes, I'd like to see about a future agenda item talking about a key to the city and maybe creating a policy for that.
Would that be different than the recognitions we currently? How would that be different than the recognitions we currently?
We don't have a key to the city.
That's true.
We don't have a policy.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Any others? Councilmember Estrada?
Yeah, here in Menifee, we're a very pro military, very pro law enforcement community. And so I would like to look at property tax rebates for 100% disabled veterans.
Does the state of California has that already, right?
Well, I would like to see what the city of Menifee at the municipal level could do.
Would we be duplicating the same thing? I think they have a disabled veterans exemption that reduces their property tax liability. I mean, would we be doing the same thing?
Right, but it's only to a certain limit. It's, I believe, $10,000 if you have an income of $10,000 or less. Now, I could be wrong, but from what I read, it's limited. So I'd like to see if the city of Menifee can somehow work out a way to help out disabled veterans with their property tax.
I'll second that one too.
Thank you.
I'll say I was going to talk about a future agenda item, but I'm going to withhold proposing that until the FPPC ruling comes in, so it's just not lingering on our future agenda. Until then, I'll raise it at that point, because I don't know how long that's going to be.
Okay, very good. Any other future agenda items? All right, hearing none, we will go ahead and adjourn. It is 8:39, and I want to thank everybody for being here this evening. We hope you all are able to stay cool in this very, very hot weather. Thanks again. Yeah, I think that this